Are you sitting comfortably? Then we'll begin.
Everybody, and welcome to Ukraine Update here with the Shills. And hope you're digging the new intro. Dunk made that up for us. Brilliant stuff. Love it. Spared no expense. We got Slava in with us, and we got Commander McMillan in with us, and Andrew McCardo will be in here in a couple of minutes, and Sakai's going to be popping in. And aside from that, Starsky might be able to make it today. He's going to be back on track starting next week, but he's going to give it his best shot today. But because we screwed up and made it a Sunday show, not a Saturday show, we have to take a bunch of well, at least I do on that one. So glad you're all with us. Good to see y'all. Slavi, there's lots going on in this little sphere of interest of ours here. Where in heck should we even start?
Oh my gosh, there's so much to discuss. It's been a week, definitely, for Russia. So you can only imagine what's happening there. Zelenskyy or Ukraine turned off Russian gas that goes through Ukraine to Europe, which is, I think, was a great strategic move. Now Europe will probably get gas from United States, and I'm sure that will make Trump very happy. And gas in United States will be quite cheap, so that's good. And Zelenskyy said crude oil is next if Russia dares to do something.
Yeah. Now there's you hear when as we're talking about petroleum exports and energy needs and things like that, there's this odd thing that I only just realized recently that I was hoping we'd get into right away. You ever wonder why America exports most of its oil, crude oil, and imports the stuff that they actually refine to use for gasoline in cars? It's because depending on how your crude oil is constituent, like its makeup is, you would have to retrofit the American refineries to refine the crude oil that they're actually pumping in America. So it works out better economically for other people to buy American oil and America to buy other oil. So when we start talking about how this is all going to work, who has the refineries for what type of crude becomes an actual issue here. I only just learned this. I had no clue. I figured oil is oil. What the hell, right? Not even close. Commander, you know any on this?
Yeah, they're different varieties. My understanding is we like to import what's called sweet oil.
Mhm.
And no, it doesn't have anything to do with taste. That's the term. Because it's easier to crack and to turn into petroleum products. Um, I don't think the yield in terms of how much gasoline you get out of it is that much different than the other stuff. It's just the cracking process is faster and easier. So most of the oil we produce internally within the US, though, is what would be called a heavier grade of oil. So we tend to export that to other people so that they get to incur the additional cost of cracking it.
Yeah. Yeah. But it's one of those things I never thought about. And once you realize it, it makes things a lot more complicated, doesn't it? But
Yeah.
as we talk about this, I guess we have to bring up Moldova because wow, is there an effect there? Right. Myself, like I was saying, we just had our Christmas around here for the last few days and stuff. This year he was with my son was with other families, so I'm late. And as such, I don't know the true ramifications going on right now. But Slavi, Commander, either one of you up on this? Because as I understand it, just looking into it quick before we went live, they're like people are on the verge of panic.
Yeah. A lot of it has to do with the fact that Moldova was getting a significant portion of its electrical power from Ukraine.
Mm-hmm.
And the strategic attacks that the Russians have been conducting have been targeted in some part at Ukraine's power grid, which means it's getting harder for them to generate power that they can export to other countries.
Yeah.
Hence, Moldova ends up on the short end of the stick. So you have cases where, what was it, a bread making factory, for example, which normally produces 20 tons of bread a day, is now unable to produce any bread because they don't have the ability to grind the wheat, to bake it, all of that because the power doesn't exist.
Right.
And that in turn is causing hardships on the rest of the civilian sector economy because people don't have enough food to eat. They are not being paid for jobs that they're not able to go to work for, et cetera, et cetera.
That's when the term trickle down actually really has an effect, unlike in economics, right?
Exactly. And another part that I would bet is having an influence on it is the Russians have been doing a lot of disinformation propaganda stuff to influence politics in Moldova and turn the people against a kind of Western leaning government to favor their, oh, we love Russia, we want to amalgamate back with them, that group.
Right.
So that's working in their favor because the existing more Western oriented government is looking bad because all of these problems are occurring under their reign.
Right.
And the area of Russia that's Transnistria that Moldova heavily relies on, where everything is just off and not work, like Commander said, not working. Food production is, I mean, there's videos coming from it that it's a ghost town. It's a complete ghost town.
Wow. And then there's the new push in Kursk, right?
Yeah, I hate being negative, but it's
be honest
easy
though. Be honest.
Yeah, it's easy to overstate the significance of what is going on. The Ukrainian forces are advancing in Kursk Oblast, but it's not a huge advance. My understanding is expanded the size of their salient by about 12 kilometers towards the northeast. Yeah, it's a gain. It's more than what you see the Russians doing with their human meat grinder tactics, but it's not a sweeping movement that's going to get to Kursk City or anything.
Mm.
Well, we got Russian military bloggers saying that, admitting that there's been heavy attacks. So
yeah, no,
yes.
I don't want to undersell it either. the fact is the Russian army is beginning to show significant cracks in it. We're getting wholesale desertion, entire platoons and companies deserting en masse, or surrendering en masse, either way. Very hard strapped for equipment. So as I think I alluded to last week, they're sending replacements to the front via motor scooter because they don't have enough BTRs or BMPs to move them in protection carriers up to the front. So it's more important to them to husband those for a big drive. And yeah, you guys take your chances with getting hit with a cluster munition.
Yeah, there's a video. There's like, I don't know, 5 or 6 orcs on electric scooters. It's hilarious.
Yeah. Wow. I don't think that's the kind of transportation they had in mind for orcs in the movies there. Now, Commander, do you think this push is going to force any redeployments and so on in Russia? Is this going to benefit Ukraine in other areas?
It's hard to say. Putin and the hierarchy it's an embarrassment to have Ukraine occupying wholly Russian territory. And if they're expanding the area that they have, it's even a greater embarrassment. So they're under a certain degree of pressure to want to redeploy troops to stop this from having to reclaim the territory, etc. But the only areas that they're making progress in are in the central sector. And if you pull troops out of that central sector, particularly experienced troops, which are the ones that seem to be making the most gains in that area, then your gains in the front dry up, and you don't know what's going to happen with, when they finally get to the Kursk salient, whether they're going to be able to stop the tide or not.
Right.
So it's a trade-off in their minds between, do we continue to make slow but costly gains in the center, or do we try to stop the gains the Ukrainians are making in Kursk?
Yeah.
I can't predict what they're going to do.
That would be really tough. I forgot
I find that when I make predictions about what they're going to do, they immediately find some other thing that didn't make sense to go off and do. You could attack here, you could attack here. No, we're going to attack over there.
Yeah. We got to give a couple of shout outs here. So get that applause running. We got Johnny Nedregard in the chat there with Norwegian Kroner Super Chat. A Happy New Year, Shills, with a lovely big heart. Slava Ukraini with those lovely colored hearts. Thank you, Johnny. Very cool. We'll throw that in the Boom Boom Fun. And Kobe Jack gets a double shot here, so we'll get the horn in too. Kobe Jack be gifting out 5 Shills memberships. We love gifted memberships around here. But then he hits the Boom Boom Fund with an $85 direct donation for the Boom Boom Fund. Happy New Year to everybody at the Shills. Kobe Jack. Oh, big shout out there. Awesome. So into the Boom Boom Fund. Britain, Ukraine there at the Ukrainian mission, at the Ukraine mission there, soldier that we've met recently, his thermal optic scope fund, the thingy, I think you can use it on weapons, drones, the whole 9 yards. I'm not really sure, to be honest, but he's getting pretty close. And so we're going to use today's Boom Boom Fund to prop his fundraiser up to see if we can't get him over the mark and get that ordered right away. So there we go. Look at that. There's somebody there's a user in live chat that has no name, but no name. How did that happen? How have you done that? That's really cool. So where did you guys want to all go next here? Slava, I know you're bursting at the seams with some goodies to talk about. So I'll turn right back to you.
Well, just before we started the stream, I noticed that the Lex Fridman and Zelenskyy interview has been dropped. I thought it was going to be on Monday, but it just came out. If anybody knows, it was weirdly dubbed, which the whole problem was that Lex Fridman asked Zelensky to do the interview on Russian language to a English-speaking audience. Predominantly, it's for the West. But Lex Fridman, the rat that he is, he started a Russian YouTube channel that he translated all his interviews with like Tucker Carlson into Russian, which all, as all Russian narratives. So he's clearly doing it for Russia to get paid by Russia. And he wanted Zelensky to speak Russian. I mean, how moronic is that to even ask that? And there was a lot of commotion after that. And then a couple of days after, Lex Fridman announced that he is going to Russia to do an interview with Putin.
Wow.
After Zelensky's, interview. And just minutes ago, they dropped Zelensky interview, and I'm pretty excited to watch it. I think Zelensky ate Lex Fridman for breakfast because he's Russian. 1, 2, he's extremely boring and he can't put a sentence together.
Yeah. So, Zelensky's got charisma, man. He can carry a crowd so easily, right?
Yeah.
One thing that always made me curious, Zelensky speaks pretty damn good English. I mean, it's heavily accented, but so reluctant to do more interviews in English. It just and doing it in Russian for a guy that is going to be probably shopping it to the Russians. I wonder about the advisability of that move.
Oh yeah.
It's the audacity too. Ukraine is being invaded by Russia. Russia has been taking away our language for centuries. And to even ask, hey, can we do the interview in Russian while you're being invaded by Russia? I don't see any problem with that. It's ridiculous that it was so sneaky, but it was moronic sneaky.
Yeah.
They should have done it in, Arabic or one of the South African languages. Those would make sense.
Well, they're both Jewish, so they probably should have spoken Hebrew.
Oh, done it in Yiddish. That would be great.
Yiddish. Great idea.
Yeah. Oh, that's funny. Yeah, I just
Latin.
To ask. Yeah, that's what I was thinking, right? But yeah, to ask the guy, oh, do you mind speaking the language of the oppressors? It kids can't be that freaking stupid. Shout out to Petra Olsen here in the chat. 129 Swedish kroners into the fund with love to Ukraine and with love through the Boom Boom Fund. Thou shall be sent. Thanks, Petra. Very cool. Let me check over here and make sure we're good. All right. Again, there's something I'm trying to get out of my mouth, and every time I go for it, it just goes, no, I got something else to do. I'm being squirreled by myself. It's just not good.
That brain cell keeps going back to the bar forever.
Yeah. Maybe I should be more gentle on it. There has been some bad action that came at Ukraine in the last few days as well, right? There was a strike somewhere, airstrike in the last 24 hours.
Yeah. I have to admit, I'm getting bad about that. It's kind of the equivalent of the old house-to-house fighting continues in Stalingrad thing that the Germans used to do during the war.
Right.
It's, Russian strategic bombardment of Ukraine continues.
Yeah.
Yeah, we know it's going to happen, and horrible, tragic things occur when they do it, but it's not new news if you follow my logic.
Yeah. I wonder, I've been looking, not in the last few days, but I was trying to look into, with the fiber optic little cable and the drone thing and whatnot. Do you go super old school and literally try to get something with a cutting blade or something? I mean, like, what do you do
It-
against that thing?
It's
I've been trying to
probably
figure this
more
out.
efficient to simply find the drone itself and attack it rather than try to find those essentially invisible
Yeah, because it's
fiber
fiber, it's
optic.
minute, right? I
Oh, yeah,
mean,
yeah. I remember when tow missiles, the U.S. wire-guided missile, anti-tank missile system came out. People were saying, well, all the other guys are going to have to do is, put razor blades on the sides of their tanks. No, that won't work, dude.
Yeah.
It's
there's
really hard to do that.
I mean, I was trying to. I'm no physicist by any stretch of the imagination, but I'm not stupid by nature. And if that little cable just has the slightest amount of insulation, so no light escapes, I'm hard pressed to figure out a detectable radiation from any sort of distance that could help. Right? I don't.
And I recall reading an article back in the mid 70s reporting on the Yom Kippur War. And one of the things that the Egyptians were using was a Soviet wire-guided system called the Sagar. And the report was talking about how it looked like Israeli tanks were dragging these cobwebs behind them. And what it was all the Sagar missiles that had overflown the target, leaving their fiber optic cable behind them, and it was being dragged around by the tank.
Oh.
So, yeah, it's a very delicate thing. It can break quite easily, but if you've got a system and skilled operators, it's not going to make any difference.
Right.
There's really no good countermeasure to it.
Yeah.
Aside from if it's a drone, which is relatively slow flying, using another drone or some other means to shoot the drone itself down.
If you look into astronomy as something here, you could have like a laser at a certain height that goes out in a wide beam, and it would be easy to detect that one tiny little spot where it reflects back. Boom, you found its cable. And then if you were to raise that beam up and down a bit, you can now start to form a trajectory to see where it come from. Is all that effort worth it?
It's hard to say. And the big problem is any system you come up with
is going to be
targetable itself.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, is it worth putting all the money into finding, some little laser system that will detect it?
Yeah.
Only for the enemy to just take that out with a mortar round or something.
Yeah. Yeah. And if you're putting out visible light, unless you've got 4 or 5 locations for it and so on, you could do it, I guess, but infrared, I'm a dead giveaway. And, it must be driving people crazy trying to think through this, because it caught my attention just because I'm inquisitive. I just have to, think it through, right?
Yeah. It's the way military technology develops. Is somebody comes up with a clever idea, and then you spend the next X amount of time people hunting down ways to counteract that clever idea, during which time somebody else comes up with another clever idea.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm sorry. I'm slightly distracted here because we still got this thing going on where we got somebody in the live chat who doesn't actually have a username. It's hilarious.
There's a trick to do that. I know a lot of people that
I've never seen this before.
Invisible. Yeah.
Yeah, that's funny. I think it's Matt, but we'll see. So where do you want to go next, guys? Slavi, more on the list?
Should we talk about space cunt? His recent shtick that he's doing. Well, X is pretty much China now because there's a rating system now that Elon Musk is imposing, I guess. And I don't know if you guys seen the episode of Black Mirror called Nosedive, where literally people rate you. So you have to be like kind and nice and say like interesting stuff, and then people give you a rating. If you're obviously mean or an asshole or a moron, people,
Vote you down.
comes down. So that's what X is going to be like. China is already there. They're already rating each other. And free speech, what? I don't know. It's very blurry right now. That
it allows you to pretend that, oh no, the masses are determining whether or not you're popular enough to promote. Except, yeah, we all know who's really manipulating the numbers behind the scenes.
Yeah, there's no way that's actually being left to the masses in honest in any way, right? No, you know.
Yeah. I was about to say no authoritarian regime, but then I realized no, it'll happen in any regime because the owner in a capitalist system effectively becomes the guy who determines how he's going to run his system. And if he means to manipulate the numbers, he can do it. You can't really stop.
What's his name? Seth MacFarlane, the Family Guy. His TV show, The Orville, that take on Star Trek, it covered this exactly, where everybody had to have a pen and you could just walk up and downvote them because they spilled your coffee or some crap, you know. And if you got enough downvotes, they would literally just go full lobotomy on you and turn you into a vegetable. So
that was a really great show, by the way.
I love that one. Yeah, very much so. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Tim was just going at that as I went in.
It had enough comedic elements to be amusing, but was able to take on serious topics without being too controversial at the same time. So it was a good happy medium in all aspects there, I thought.
Oh, they did this amazing character arc about gender issues and stuff with a crew member and the family, and it was awesome. I don't want to spoil it for anybody because I highly recommend you watch it. It's not normal Seth MacFarlane. There's a lot of depth in there. It's just dressed in his bullshit, you know. And as the seasons go on to 2 and 3, there's less of that slappy whatever kind of humor in it, and it's a bit more serious. But even still, you can't take it out of him, and he has to get it in there, and it's great. I like it. You know, it's an awesome show.
Started out trying to make that kind of an ironic send-up of the sci-fi genre, in particular Star Trek.
Yeah.
And the longer he went on with it, the more he realized that, no, it's a really good genre, and there's a lot of positive things you can do with it.
Yeah, he went from Galaxy Quest to Next Generation inside of about 2 seasons there. He couldn't help himself, but, you know, dive in more, you know. Funny thing, before, I know it's, what are we talking about? But he's also one of the executive producers behind the newer remakes of Cosmos and a few other things as well. He doesn't just do clown shoe stuff. I was surprised to learn that. It was actually my son that taught me that.
A lot. He's really like a real powerhouse here. He's producing. It's a production company. He's more than just a voice.
Yeah.
Characters, but
I was
surprised. Need to start whispering the word Firefly into his ear.
Yeah. But yeah, I'm not a fan of Family Guy, so I was surprised when The Orville came out. I had to give it a try because it's the Star Trek we needed at the time and didn't have, right? You know. Anyway, you know.
Have you guys seen the movie? Was it 99 Ways to Die in the West? Or
it's awesomely funny, but really good. Yeah.
A Million Ways to Die in the West.
Yeah. It's on our Plex server. It's great.
I think it's hilarious, and I'm not a big fan of, you know, completely dumb comedy, but something about it, it's funny. Like
if you only have a mustache.
Yeah. I definitely recommend to watch that movie. It'll put you in a good mood.
Yeah. A famous scientist that achieves greatness in his life later years makes a cameo appearance in that movie. Watch it, and when you get to that moment, you'll laugh because I said it that way. Okay, so a couple of shout outs here we should honor people with. Mr. Nobody came in gifting out some memberships. Oh yeah, Mr. Nobody, thank you very much. There was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of them. Thanks, Mr. Nobody. And Jean-Marc came in the chat there, $10 super chat as well. What is it, 80 kilometers to NPP in Kursk, shorter distance as they advance. Okay, yeah, that goes back to the Kursk thing. Commander nods his head right away, so definite agreement there.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, thanks, Jean-Marc.
The only problem is when you get to a major metropolitan area like Kursk City, then it gets really costly to conduct, clearing operations.
Right.
So I don't know if that's something the Ukrainians want to do.
Right.
Isolating the city and trying to starve it into submission probably is cheaper in the long run than trying to storm it and clear it, like, say, what the Russians did with Bakhmut, house to house fighting. And I mean, how many tens, if thousands of their troops got killed doing that operation?
Yeah. Sorry, it's kicking back today. I was just alerted to a little thing that's about to happen in the background in about 40 minutes. And so today's not going to be our longest show because me putting it till Sunday has bit me in the ass again. And there's something that has to be done, and there's nothing I can do to get out of it. It's not a bad thing. It's just, I made a commitment and it just totally popped up in my alerts and a message and stuff. So yeah. Let's see. I should have got a hold of Britt to see if he could join us, but I do believe that he's had some later evenings communicating on YouTube with everybody and stuff. And I don't think today was intended to be a late night for him, but I'll let him know at the end of the show that we've got some cash to send over into his fund and we'll get it sent over. The
thing that I find interesting right now is there was talk about, I think it was France who was going to be donating a whole bunch of Mirage aircraft to Ukraine.
Yeah.
There's
But
some
there was
reports
never-
that they may already be there.
Yeah, but there was never any discussion about training pilots on those things. And
Are they an aircraft that's so similar to another one that you could? No,
it's certainly not similar to the Russian planes that most of the
right.
Ukrainian Air Force pilots have been operating. So
Not F-16s, probably.
well, they've only got like 12 pilots who've been fully trained on the F-16s.
So you think it's NATO that's flying them, perhaps?
I don't know. Are they actually flying? Or are they just sitting on the, ready on the runways or something? It's really hard to say.
I think I've read that the Mirage planes, jets, they'll be more for shooting down missiles rather than going on the offensive.
Yeah. They're also a much older airframe, so they're less capable. I mean, they're almost 2 generations behind what the French are flying right now. So yeah, that would be a logical thing to use them for, is rear area air defense, intercepting drones and such. But still, it takes time to train pilots to operate new aircraft, particularly ones who have radically different operating systems than what they're accustomed to.
Well, we have the French Legion as well on the ground, and
how many of them have been trained as combat pilots? I suspect that if you have a guy who's a trained aviator, they're not going to stick him with a rifle on the front lines.
Yep.
Is
Point.
with the training and all, aside from the fact that the cockpit and controls and stuff are going to be different, I'm assuming that a lot of it is based on the drastic differences in how the different aircraft fly and maneuver and whatnot. You know, it would be like somebody trying to jump out of a Formula One car and just, jump into a Dakar rally truck without being, and just go off and flip it in 20 minutes, right?
Yeah, that's kind of the case, but another aspect is that Western aircraft are designed around very different types of operational doctrine. So the systems they have are different than the ones that the Russian aircraft have. And when I say Russian aircraft, even if they're built in Ukraine, it's still a Russian design.
Exactly. MiG. Yeah.
But my point is, there are systems on a Western aircraft that allow the pilot to make individual decisions about what he's going to do, how he's going to do it, where he's going to go to do it, all that. Russian aircraft literally don't have those pieces of equipment in the cockpit. All of those orders are being relayed up from a ground station to the pilot.
Oh.
Yeah. So
how micromanagement of them?
Oh, it's ridiculous. It just there are recorded. There's some recordings intercepted of operations over Vietnam, which many of the pilots were flying for the North were actually Russian pilots, where you hear an experienced pilot basically strings of obscenities at the ground crawlers. Don't tell me what to do. I can see him over there. I'm going that way.
Wow.
Yeah, because that's the kind of rigid over control that's typically exercised by Russian aircraft operations.
Wow.
Well, speaking of aircraft, there is a amazing video of a Ukrainian naval drone shooting down a Russian helicopter.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
What to do? Jump out of the water and ram it?
Yeah, I mean,
I have
on
to hunt
video.
that one. I have not seen that. That'd be impressive.
Yeah, I think it happened a few days ago, and it was pretty epic. That
You have to have been hovering low to the water or something.
They should call that one like Nautilus or something, right? Just boom, man.
That's one thing that, to me, that has stood out, based on my background anyway, is how inept the Russian Navy has been from the start of this war. Basically, they exist solely to be a platform to launch missiles. Everything else, they don't seem to be able to do effectively.
Well, I would jump in here with a suspicion that maybe the fleet is so tired and whatnot that they really just can't do much.
It's partially that, but it's also
ineptitude.
Well, it's a lack of training. So, for example, in the U.S. Navy, we have an 18-month operational cycle. So for 6 months, you train up to a position where you're ready to deploy. Then you deploy for 6 months. Then you come home and you do maintenance with repairing everything that you broke on the ship during the 6 months deployment. And you keep repeating that cycle.
Right.
So you get a fair amount of training time, intensive training time during that 6-month workup period. The Russians often leave their ships in port for years without getting underway, and then somehow manage to think that the crew, when they finally get underway, will know how to operate the ship. Now, think about that. That's like, when was the last time Junior was in the car? Back when he had driver's ed in, 10th grade.
Yeah.
And here he is, he's a college senior, and he gets in his car for the first time. He's going to have some problems.
It's so foolish. Yeah, that's like you know, again, I always use auto racing in my things because I'm very close to it. But that's like training to be a race car driver and then sitting around just playing in poker and stuff with the racing drivers, letting the cars evolve over 9 years of history, and then thinking you're going to jump in the new car and just kick ass, and you just go into the wet fence and die, right? You know?
Yeah. And that extends over to other things too. So the Russian Air Force, a Russian Air Force pilot typically got about 1/10 of the annual flight time that any Western, you know, West German, American, Canadian, whatever pilot did.
Is that cost savings? Just because the less you run them, the less it costs?
Well, it's a combination of things. The less you run them, the less you're spending on maintenance costs, the less you're spending on fuel, etc. But also the less wear and tear on the aircraft, so that allegedly it will be ready to go in the event of a crisis.
Yeah, nobody knows how to use it, but we got a whack of them.
Which brings to mind the French Air Force in 1940 when the Germans invaded. A lot of people don't realize this. The French actually had more aircraft than the Germans did.
And they were just targets?
Were fairly decent aircraft. The trouble was, as a cost-saving measure, they didn't have enough pilots. So there were basically like 2.5 airframes for every pilot.
So they were all looking for drunk Dennis Quaid's in motorhomes in the desert to fly their planes.
Something like that. It was just, you know, and so the war starts and half of the French Air Force is sitting on the sidelines because nobody knows how to fly the plane.
Oh, wow. Wow. Does this kind of
stuff looks good on paper to have all those airplanes?
It's just in the long run, is this a result of commanders and you know, people in the military not being listened to by the politicians, or the politicians putting the wrong people in charge in the first place, or is it just an entire clusterfuck because they're morons?
It's different. No, literally for each country, it's different. So in Russia's case, a lot of it is that I'm sure funds were allocated for training and flight time, etc.
But somebody built a yacht with it.
A lot of that money, you know, got sort of brushed off to the side road of fixing the commander's dacha and buying a yacht.
A little bit for airplane, little bit for me, little more for me, little more for me.
Here's a kopeck for the airplane. Here's 1,000 rubles for me. Another kopeck for the airplane.
That's funny.
In that case,
the Mirages, Ukrainian pilots have finished the training on the Mirages.
Oh, okay.
They started last March.
Good news.
Yeah. Well,
good news.
It's an abbreviated training period, but yeah, if you're only doing rear area combat air patrols, that kind of makes sense. You don't need to have super advanced training.
Couple of shout outs here. We've got SSW's Custom Sewing with a direct tip of $3.33 for the Boom Boom Fund. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Custom Sewing. And SSW Custom Sewing puts a second tip in for the $3.33 for the Boom Boom Fund. So big shouts there, SSW Custom Sewing. Thank you very much. If it was a mistake and it came through twice, well, you got 2 shout outs. And if it was actually one, we could have added it up to be $6.66. But you know, not everything has to be an old Iron Maiden album around here, right? Although some of it, I kind of like that. We got Darren Vaughn in the super chat section there for Slava in Ukraine. Play Rush. Can't play commercial music on this show, but head over to the new Shills Live channel at the Shills Live, because we're doing a pub chat later, and I can break all the fucking rules over there. Come and join us. Big shout, Darren. And then Darren comes in with a second one here. Didn't send the right amount. And that was a $20 super chat. Very cool indeed. And remember, that was also for Slavy. So let's get some links dropped. Get on over there. Get sub to Slavy's channel. And when you go to bed tonight, put her channel on autoplay and just let the videos play, because it'll gain her all the watch hours she needs for a monetized channel. It's not a bad play. Come on, we do it for family around here, right? We've got John Mark in the super chat section again. Ottawa, damn cold. Oh man, I spent a winter in Ottawa. I once opened my door and it was like 3 feet up in snow. I know that well. How is Ukraine winter so far? As I understand, Ukraine's winter isn't all that harsh yet. It's not been an ass kicker at all.
Oh, but it's cold.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
it's cold. But it will get horrible.
Yeah, it's going to be
It'll
into
get worse.
January when it really starts fucking
Yeah.
with them big. Yeah.
January, February, traditionally the worst months for winter in that area.
Yeah. But very cool one, Jean-Marc. Cool. Ottawa, nation's capital. Praising the flag. Nobody's praising it, but thanks for the shout there. We've got Mitch S down in with $30 super chat. And it's for the Boom Boom Fun. Thanks, Mitch. Thank you very much indeed. You know, my stupid machine won't let me layer the horn over the applause for some reason. It's not doing multi-timbre audio or whatever you want to call it. So I'll fix that in the background because that kind of sucks. Thanks, Mitch. And then Blonde Bombsheller comes in with a message here as well. Peace and love to the awesome chat. Viper says hello and thank you. Well, hey, yeah, I got to get in touch with Viper. I haven't talked to him in a little bit, and I hope he's doing really well and staying safe because, man, that guy's right in the thick of it. Thanks, Blonde Bombsheller. And then we've got we got a shout in from UTV and Ham in the chat there. To the fund most needed, Slava Ukraine. That's a direct donation of a 10 spot as well. Thanks, everybody. Big shout outs indeed. What do we got for time? 47 live. Yeah, we got about 15 minutes here before I got to start looking at a wrap up or whatever. It's got to be a bit of a quicker show today. So, knowing a few.
We have a visitor.
Oh, have I not set him up? Oh, Andrew, hey.
I'm here.
We'll push it till 20 or 25 minutes then, because that would be completely scummy of me to do. Mercado, how you doing, buddy?
Oh, doing well. Getting ready for tonight's game. Big game in U.S. tonight.
Which sport?
Lions. NFL.
Oh, the guys I was giving shit to recently, but I had to stop because they finally fixed it. They gave us a false copyright claim, man.
Oh, no. Why?
On our New Year's stream, we were all just hanging out and chatting, and the NFL decided that we had stepped on their content and put a copyright claim on us. But it was like Christmas Eve stream. So about 6 days later, when somebody was finally in the office that gave a rat's ass, they released the claim.
Yeah. The NFL is like the feds. They will come after you.
I actually think it's YouTube's fault for their content match system being too hard, because we didn't speak of the NFL and we didn't show their content. It was literally just us on a pub chat. It was not right. Wow. Yeah. Dang.
Yeah. YouTube can be like that, unfortunately. And I'm not a fan of it. How's everybody doing?
Good. We Christmas, catch up quick. You got to do some family time and whatnot. How was that? How you feeling?
Yeah, that was nice. First time I've been with family for Christmas in years, because I was in Ukraine last year. Actually, last year, and then the year before, I don't know what I was doing. I think I was traveling or something.
Isn't that when you were doing your move and whatnot?
Yeah, I was moving and getting ready. And then all the years past, I served in the military, so I wasn't ever home. So it was, I haven't spent too many Christmases home in recent years, or at least the last decade. But now that, I think I'm able to now, and it's nice to be around family and give gifts to the kids and exchange. Yeah. They were really, really happy. So it was really cool to see that. And plus my aunt lives up in a lake in northern Minnesota. So it was really cool. We went ice fishing and everything.
Yeah, man. Yeah, that's I remember when we were talking that there was a couple of people talking about ice fishing that couldn't understand what you were talking about. Yeah, it's hilarious.
Yeah, it's like regular for me.
I had such a good segue because you guys were talking about NFL, and it had like perfect story. And Beyonce performed halftime. I think it was New Year's Day or Eve. I forget. In the all white outfits, like it was crazy. So 33 of those dancers and Blue Ivy, Beyonce's daughter, were all in Ukrainian designer outfits designed by Frolov. That's his
Really?
name. Yeah.
That's super.
And the hats and everything. Like, Beyonce has been wearing a lot of Ukrainian designers, and especially the hats. And yeah, it's been pretty cool. That's definitely one way for a big star to show support. Because
Seriously, yeah, I didn't even know that. Wow. Yeah, that was that was a good. I wish the game was a little better, but Beyonce was the best part of the thing.
I don't even know who was playing. But
the only game that matters is tonight. All right, this is the game of the year.
Yeah,
it's for first place. Yeah,
it's interesting because Beyonce has a country music album coming out.
Yeah, oftentimes in the U.S., artists change genres after some time now.
No, that's pretty awesome. But it's just interesting how it's a Ukrainian designer making like cowboy clothes. So I'm just saying.
It can be a route to get into that culture, maybe into Ukraine then. And because I saw like a Texas restaurant or like an American barbecue themed restaurant off of Krashatik. It wasn't off of Krashatik. It was the next road over. I can't remember what it was called. But it was like American barbecue, Southern barbecue. I think we need more Mexican restaurants though in Ukraine. They only have like one, and it's like mid. Oh, it's good. Oh, it's good food.
Oh, I love me some Mexican grub. I just love it, man. You know,
the closest thing would probably be like Georgian food, kind of like in a way, but still very different.
Yeah, very different.
Yeah, but like that's the only thing that deviates a little bit towards like a little spicier food, but not too much.
Yeah.
But even you don't even Mexican food doesn't have to be spicy though. It can be like mild, regular.
It has to be spicy.
Oh, you want it? You do like spice. You like
love it.
She's in LA, so she's getting a little,
everywhere.
You've been Americanized now.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
I've been here for 15 years. So.
Oh wow. 15 years.
Andrew's like, yeah, we have tomato like hot sauce with our tacos here. I'm like, yeah.
Me too. I'm sorry. I didn't know you were here for 15 years.
Dump some good hot sauce in your eggs before you scramble them.
That's a good
yes.
That's a good tip too.
Yeah.
Do you which hot sauce do you use? Do you use Tabasco?
We have Tabasco, Frank's, Louisiana. It really depends on what I'm doing, but I'm a hot sauce person, you know.
Eggs were invented in the Middle Ages to punish children who misbehave.
It didn't work on me though. It didn't work.
Considered opinion.
Yeah.
You know what we should do for fundraising? We should do an episode of Hot Ones and have really hot wings. And then
just watch everybody sweat and squirm, man.
Yeah. I'm sure the viewers would let us know if that's what you like us to do.
As long as it's that and not a hot chip. I'm not doing a hot chip. I don't want to have like convulsions and heart palpitations from how hot. Like I'll do hot wings though. I'll do that.
Yeah, no, not that weird chip.
That chip is, I'm scared. I feel like I'll take it and then that'll be my last chip.
Yeah.
I will never have a chip again.
Yeah. Not worth it. Not playing.
No, I don't think so.
No.
I've watched others do it though.
Well, what's his name there? Canty Luton in the
he did horseradish.
Yeah, man. He's wow, his taste buds and whatnot must hate him, you know.
Yeah, they're probably not too happy. He bought more too.
Yeah, because he gave her 3 full scoops on the lot, you know. Wow.
Oh, dude.
Yeah.
I've never aged pure horseradish. Obviously, I've had horseradish like the sauce.
Oh, I love that.
Put that on my roast beef sandwich all day, you know.
Oh, yeah. That's like butter. Yeah.
Exactly. But I don't know about I've never had pure horseradish. Just like
No, that's like
Oh, it's
that's like
so
going for
spicy
the
and
And it's Ukrainian, so it spices like
yeah.
so strong.
It's like a whip.
Yeah.
Roof of your mouth like just gets punched.
Yeah.
God dang.
No, it's
It cleans you out nicely, though. Your sinuses, everything. Good to go.
That is true. You can do that in a sauna too, though.
yeah.
And like I'd rather do that than yeah, shout out to Canty though. He like definitely suffered through that. That was tough.
Man. You know, but it's working. You know, he's not the biggest channel in the world and he's pulling in some funds, man. You know?
Yeah, he's killing it.
Oh,
he's
yeah.
Yeah, because there's some bigger Twitter accounts too. They might not be YouTubers, but they have a lot of followers on their social media.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You know, speaking of which, somebody I'll just leave anonymous, was looking into a little thing recently and doing subscribers on YouTube versus subscriber count on X, Twitter, and dollar per subscriber over a year period. How much do you earn per subscriber to your fundraising? And YouTube destroys X.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a bigger reach. I mean, you're watching video instead of because people don't. Number one, people don't even want to open X. They don't even want to go to the app. So that's a problem already. And then then when they're on there, the content they're looking at is terrible. And then they're
probably an issue of how many of those are real versus bot accounts too.
Yeah,
yeah. And then at least YouTube, you're watching a person.
Yeah. And in this day and age, you got to look at on Twitter X, abandoned accounts. Like you could have 100,000 followers, but are 20,000 of them gone now? Like nobody's just using the account anymore, but it still counts, right?
Dead internet.
Yeah, or a user that's just abandoned and, all kinds of things, right? But
exactly.
Yeah.
That is actually a real theory too. The dead internet theory that a lot of the internet's becoming bots and AI, and it's less real people. I mean, there's still real people, but
the things that drive the metrics is where you're really going. The numbers and everything, right? Yeah,
See what Instagram did? They created completely AI profiles.
Yep.
And then people couldn't block them. I'm not sure what was the reason to create. Was it for interaction purposes or I wasn't sure, but I know they created these completely AI profiles, and then people tried to block the profiles and they couldn't. And then,
speaking of which, it has started on Bluesky now. There's 4 confirmed BS total Russian propaganda little videos going around the thing on Bluesky. So enough people are noticing the exodus on X that they're bringing that bullshit to the other platforms now. Here it goes. Yep.
Of course, you knew that though. They can never sit still, right? They have to go to where
they can't stay in an echo chamber because that doesn't do them any good, right?
It's it's like that Bird Box movie, right? Where they got to open their eyes and you have to see our stuff. You have to.
Yeah.
It's no. Hopefully, Bluesky is.
Bluesky was going to be a little more aggressive about squashing.
They have been at least. I mean, Andrew Tate was yeeted immediately.
Oh yeah. And Bluesky is also fighting all of these porn body sort of come and see my OnlyFans page accounts and whatnot. I get on the Shills account, they keep following the Shills, and then they message you and you ignore it. And 3 days later, you go through your messages and it says deleted account. It's just relax. It's not going to work. Okay.
It used to be so bad on X. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Infested completely.
A girl that used to previously work with us here on the Shills was decently popular on X, and she got 2 dick pics a week, no problem. And you want to be able to make it so people can contact you in case because you're doing
2 dick pics a week, no problem.
They just would keep coming.
Relentless amounts of unwanted.
And this is somebody who never once put their own
problem. I think he meant you could count on it.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
He's Canadian. He's Canadian. It's a Canadian.
Yeah. I'm just slanging it in the wrong way.
Slanging it.
Yeah. But this is somebody who never once put their own picture on the account. They had no idea who they were doing this to. No clue at all. So weird.
Yeah, terrible.
You know, when we first got on Bluesky, some girl said, yeah, I just had somebody approach me because they wanted to buy my underwear. And I posted back, well, that's kind of strange, like you don't expect that to just happen out of the blue. And she came back with, oh, come on now, we don't kink shame anybody. I said, I'm not kink shaming. Can you imagine just standing in a shopping mall, walking up to average women and saying, excuse me, but could I buy your underwear? I mean, that's just not normal,
Yeah. That's something that you should be advised.
Tokyo. In Tokyo, they sell dirty stuff.
That's a slightly different culture.
But in Tokyo, the chicks don't stand on the street waiting for you to ask and just flipping them off under their dress for you. I mean, it's just to actually solicit that was on. I was like, seriously, this is normal behavior to you? I just couldn't believe it.
X has gotten a little better, not much, like misinformation, but Elon didn't like all the pushback on him, so now he's starting to moderate it, which is funny because he took all the safeguards off of it. There's a bunch of them on there, and he took them all away, and now he's putting them back and banning people and banning Nazis and others on there.
He's not banning the Vatniks though.
No, he's keeping those.
Yeah,
he is keeping those on there. And he's also engaging in other activities now in Europe. I told my viewers that, though. I'm like, he's not done. He did that in the United States here, but he's going to be doing it in every Western country.
Oh, yeah.
Pushing extreme. Whatever extreme it is.
In Germany.
In Germany, the AFD in Germany, yeah. Also in the UK with Tommy Robinson.
Yeah.
He's doing that heavily right now.
So, yeah. If you're part of the exodus of Twitter X and you're heading over to greener pastures and stuff, just be aware they're only going to be green for so much longer. I think it's about to hit, And then we'll be in this situation where we got people on Threads, people on Bluesky and whatnot. And instead of the centralized one place we had with Twitter before X, now everybody's scattered and you're going to have to manage 4 accounts instead of the 1 or 2. And it actually makes it worse for anybody like us who's trying to do a social media presence in YouTube and so on, right? I agree. It was great to get off X, but in the end, it just means everybody's got to do more shit.
I gotta say, though, Threads is popping. It's good. Yeah,
I'm on Threads. I'm on everything.
Even if you don't have that many followers, and it never used to be like this, you can still have with good posts, you can go viral, and it's a good algorithm now. Because in the beginning, it was very iffy, it wasn't working well. Now it's fun on there. There's news, everything that X could have been or Twitter without the Elon.
Yeah, I had Dolly Parton's sister respond to me on that platform. I'm like, whoa, cool,
nice.
Yeah. I mean, it's cool on X too, but it's all the big people there are OSINT and or former military, which is fine. I mean, I respect them all, but I want some celebrities to respond to me. It's cool. That person's cool.
Yeah.
That's all Threads.
Yeah, Threads is. I go viral on there randomly.
We might have to try it then because we haven't done a Threads account. Well,
do you have a Facebook? Do you have Facebook still?
We have a Facebook page somewhere. I don't even know if anybody has the login right now. We'll have to check that. But
my posts just cross right over. I have it so it's set up, and whenever I post on Facebook, because that's where I have my most followers. I have 70,000 followers there.
Oh, wow.
I post, and then it goes to Threads too, so it shares there. So it's double the.
Threads is Meta, so it makes sense, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Instagram connection too. So if you
that would help. Yeah. Also, so if you're active on Facebook, you can link it to Instagram and
I post and it shares it. It's a multi-stream for posting, basically.
I didn't know that. I'm literally, allergic to social media for the most part. But this is good because we're trying to build our social media platform because the channel needs it. We got to do it. Yada, yada, blah, blah. You know what I mean? Right. So knowing that makes all that stuff a little bit easier. Okay.
I'd
Good to
suggest
know.
to do Instagram for the Shills, because you can do reels and every short that you put up, you can do it, post it on Reels, Facebook, and Threads all at the same time.
And we're we usually attract a slightly older audience. So Facebook does make sense because isn't it like Grandpa Zone these days? It's all about the parents and us older folk, right?
There's a lot of people there, though. There's still a lot of people. They need to be informed. That's how I see it.
A lot of Ukrainian community in Los Angeles, actually in United States, they're all on Facebook.
It's their biggest platform.
Well, maybe we'll have to start using it more, but we are doing that coming up. And speaking of what we're doing coming up, I got to get this in before we start a little bit of wrap up stuff, but we're not quite there yet. I can push a little bit more. We are splitting our shows up into 3 channels instead of the 1 channel now. So what the channel you're watching right now at the Shills, the ats on YouTube, how it works, right? Everybody. That's the Ukraine channel now. And we have At the 42 Show for our more humorous look at the news. And then we have At the Shills Live for all of our hangouts where you show up with, party favors and stuff and have a little fun. And over on Shills Live, there's going to be some people invited for not truly interviews, but hangouts, right? We just invited guests to have fun with us. And, how many times does somebody want to be, so how did you get started on YouTube? I'm not doing that. Okay. We're just going to hang out and have fun. So it's At the 42 Show and At the Shills. Check it out. Get linked up and subscribed. I'm sure the links are in the live chat already. I get my eye appointment in a few weeks and I'll be able to read the live chat better again coming up. I can't wait. I'll finally be able to see properly because it's been a couple of degrading years. Where does anybody want to get to before we put the bow on this? Yeah,
I have one suggestion for you, a little nugget. You can use it or not, but if this is going to be your Ukraine only channel, I recommend putting Ukraine in the title of the channel.
Oh yeah,
so
that's
like
gonna
the Shills Ukraine.
Yeah,
that
that's
way,
what it's. We're gonna change the at and everything for it, so we have the Shills Ukraine, and then At the 42 Show, and then At the Shills Live.
Or even if the Shills Ukraine's too long, the Shills UA too works. Like UA.
Yeah.
Yep. It'll attract viewers that want Ukraine information to your channel.
Yeah, and that's what we've been fighting is we're putting 3 different kinds of content on one channel, and it was
you can't do that
fucking thing.
Yeah,
I know.
So the way I can get away with it.
I didn't want to start again, Andrew. You know what I'm saying,
I know,
right?
it's tough, it's tough. But that's why I had to pull my gaming away from my channel and have a gaming channel. But it's worked out. It takes a little bit, but then once you get your algorithm going,
exactly.
But, it works better. It works for me because my channel's breaking news, which Ukraine falled into, and then I obviously stayed with the story, obviously for 2 straight years. But I still have that algorithm for breaking news because that's how I started Ukraine. Because it was in 2022, it was like big breaking news. But I've always done that. So now, whenever like a big breaking story comes out for me, I can still use my main channel to cover it, and it's just fine. But that's my niche, thankfully. But also Ukraine, so I kind of have like a Ukraine breaking news niche.
That does fit together.
Yeah, it does. It can. Right? Thankfully, I'm lucky that way. Yeah. But if I say I wanted to do travel stream, which I can get away with streaming, but video content, I'd only get maybe 100, 200 views. Nobody would watch it.
Right. And that's been the problem with us trying to mix the 42 show. It's a new show, but it's humorous, and that doesn't mix with the community properly, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep. The contrasting content.
Exactly. So
I have to interject here. There's a lot of speculation in the chat stream. What is with the gold chain?
Listen, first down,
rocking out with this fat gold chain.
Yeah, it's a gold chain. It's part of the get up, part of the outfit.
You're full in support of the team mode right now.
Yeah,
right?
It's a big game.
Initially, I thought it was a braid for Viking, hair hanging down out of your head or something.
Nah, it's just part of the outfit. It's part of how it goes. I have a flag and everything here too.
Cool.
Yeah. Oops.
So with all that
I return
purple, who
to
are
your
you rooting
regularly
for?
scheduled program.
I wonder.
With all that purple, who
baby.
are you rooting for? San Francisco?
Yeah. You know, Green Bay, actually. Green Bay. I think they lost. Did Green Bay end up winning that game? They were losing against the Bears, and they're terrible.
Go Bears.
Yeah, the playoffs begin in a couple weeks, so at least next
Someday
week I'll have
this
a good
football
weekend.
thing will catch on.
Yep. I'm a diehard though. I've been watching the NFL since I was a child, like literal child. Grew up watching Vikings, so
And
I'm stuck.
I just want to say, if we get another NFL copyright claim, I'm sending you the bill, Andrew, for the lawyers.
I've been good just sitting in the jersey so far. It's I'm careful even showing like a glimpse of like a game, like they come after you.
Yeah, I think if you were to put the two teams playing into like old Sega Genesis football and have it play itself on your TV in the background, they'd still sting your ass for it,
Yeah.
Get like Madden 95 going or something. Okay. So we are at our time limit here. As much as I'd like to keep going, I do have to get a thing done, and then I got to do a little parenting, and then I've got a pub chat after. So remember, get over to at the Shills Live. We got a great little hangout pub chat coming up after. I'll be throwing the link out to a whole bunch of our regulars, and you never know who's going to be there. It could be fun. We'll go around the room for a little thanks and wrap ups and shout outs and show yourself and stuff. So we'll start with yourself, Andrew.
Yeah, thanks for having me again. I always love to be back. Anytime. Tonight I'm busy with the Vikings, so I won't be able to join the pub chat. But I will be on my gaming channel today, Mercado Gaming. If you want to come watch me play Madden football with the Vikings, and then I'll also be reacting to. I had almost a million subscriber YouTuber who's a big Packer fan. The game last week we played the Packers, and he rated my gaming stream because I was reacting to the game. So I was like, oh, cool. So
wow.
It worked out. So
awesome.
Yeah, it was really awesome. So Mercado Gaming this afternoon, Mercado Media though normally, but I hope to join you guys again and have amazing conversations.
Awesome, buddy. Yeah. We'll be seeing you. I hope lots, because as this becomes the UA focus channel, well, we better get our focus intact now, hadn't we? Slavi, what do you think?
I like to say Happy New Year, Happy 2025 to everyone, to all the viewers, to everyone at the Shills, to the panel. I know this is going to be a victory year for Ukraine, and keep supporting Ukraine, please. It matters so much, and it helps so much. We gotta help our heroes on the front lines. So just keep sharing Ukraine stories, please. If you're new here, subscribe to the Shills, subscribe to Yarchenko channel, like, comment. Thank you guys so much for your support. Thank you to my moderators in the live chat. Thank you to moderators on the Shills chat. Slava Ukraini.
I'm Slava.
Good words. What do you think, Commander?
I'll close as I usually do with my admonition to the audience to, if you care about Ukraine, please communicate that fact to your elected officials. Send emails, send texts, and telephone calls, postcards, and letters. Just make sure that they know Ukraine is important to you and you want our country to continue to support Ukraine to the fullest. Other than that, way to go.
A couple last shout outs to take us out here. There was an anonymous tip for $20, and I'm pretty sure the service is screwing up because it shouldn't be anonymous, because when I go into my little, you received money thing, I recognize the name. And so I'm sure it's somebody in the live chat right now. Do the tag me or just, claim ownership of that, please, because come on, I know it's not anonymous. I fucking know better. John Mark in the chat here with a super chat. Starsky missing food talk. Starsky's back next week for sure, and a lot more coming up, and we will be having some food talk. He's been marching around here and there and whatnot, and I'm sure he's found some good grub. And then Darren Vaughn comes in with a super chat to close us out. Let's talk about how pretty Slavi is. No, we're not going to sit here and do that, Darren, but she appreciates the comment, I'm sure.
Thanks.
very much. So, Andrew, what would you say to everybody to take us out? Last words of the show.
Well, thank you so much for supporting Ukraine. Like Commander said, continue to contact your elected officials. Like everyone said, victory will come. Just continue to support the best we can. Thank you for everybody supporting our fundraisers, the Shills fundraiser, Mercado Media fundraiser, and also it all goes to Cars for Ukraine. So continue to support that. And thank you again, Dick, for having me on.
Awesome. Thanks for joining us. Thanks for watching, everybody. Big shout out to the team. We got Annette on the channel. We got Shayna, Liam Wakefield, and we got PJ always running the research team for us. So big shouts to the mod team because, without them, we just sit here looking like idiots. You really need that. On that note, Slava Ukraine.
Slava.
Good words.
All right. Take care, y'all.
It's over. Go home. Go.